and our every moment, so frequently, is tracking every shred of thought that may go through our heads. We live in a world that lures us and entices us to become rich, to become famous, to make a name for ourselves. But that's what the world does. But we're not to be in the world. We're to be disciples. We're to be more like Christ than we are to be like the world. And a disciple of Jesus, one who follows Jesus, looks forward and anticipates a little bit of peace and quiet. In fact, the text today, Paul tells Timothy to remember, look for a life of peace and quiet. Now, we look for that life not so that we can shut down the rest of the world, and not so that that becomes an end in itself. Peace and quiet is the means that we have to grow our vision for life, and to grow our vision for what this world should be. The biblical understanding of peace and quiet is the sure faith that Jesus brings to our lives here on earth and going into eternity. The sure vision. Hear Paul and what he says to the church at Philippi. Whatever things are true, whatever honorable, whatever making for the right, whatever lovable, whatever admirable, if there is any virtue, anything of high esteem, think on these. All you have learned, all you have taken from tradition, all you have listened to, all you have observed in me, act on these, and the God who brings peace will be yours. Peace and quiet, folks, for the Christian is looking and working for what is true, for what is good, for what is beautiful. Hear Jesus' words, where Jesus promises real peace and quiet like this in the book of John. You know this verse. He says, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Did you get the one two-letter word in there? My peace. It belongs to Jesus, and he offers it, and he tells us how to get it to us. Not as the world gives, so give I to you. So think about it. What kind of peace does the world give? What's in your pocket? What's in your portfolio? How big is your house? What kind of car do you drive? Does that give us peace of mind? No. What Jesus is talking about is owning a piece, not of the prudential rock, but owning a piece of the rock that he speaks so eloquently of in the Scriptures. That's not what the world offers, the prudential rock. But the peace of Christ is a peace that passes all of our understanding. But we have to understand, when we accept it, that Jesus never tells us that his peace is a trouble-free peace. He never says that our lives will be totally quiet. He never says that there's going to be stormless skies. What Jesus said was, in this world, you will have trouble. John Bennett, you may remember Archbishop Michael Ramsey, back in the mid-60s and early 70s, Archbishop of Canterbury. And I read an article by him, and he says, Jesus kind of peace and quiet is better than anyone. He says, Jesus kind of peace and quiet is, quote, the life of a Christian ought to be like the ocean, with the surface constantly battered about by storms. But miles and miles below, deep peace, and there's unmoved tranquility. Our life's surface will always have storms. There will always be things going on, but down underneath, there's that tranquility and peace that passes all understanding. And I love that. We're not going to have trouble-free peace. We're not going to have trouble-free quiet. But we're going to have a peace and quiet that goes beyond what we as human beings can understand. The peace and quiet that we're offered by Jesus is boundless. It knows no limits. And the great thing is, he looks at each one of us here and he said, it's yours. I want you to have it. And folks, I think we all want that peace. But to get it, it starts with a footstep. One small step forward into God's future plan for his world. Dante, 13th century scholar, writer, in his great opus, The Divine Comedy, has one of the greatest quotes, and I remember it from when I was in the 11th grade, and I've studied it when I was in college, and then when I was in seminary. And what Dante said is, and I'm quoting him, in his will, capital H, God, in his will is our peace. That's what God wants for me. That's what God wants for you. Hear Jesus' words one more time. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, but give I unto you. Peace, friends. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.